Xin chao, what's up everybody? In this video today, we're going to talk about the current state of budgeting in Saigon, Vietnam in 2024. Is there still the $1,000 a month budget going on? I mean, you see these videos everywhere in Southeast Asia. They're so full of shit. The ones in Da Nang are real hot right now, where I think some guys are saying $700 a month total you can live on. I don't know where to just immediately answer this question. I don't know where you could possibly live really anywhere for $700 a month, unless you're just a weird person in general, for one. So for one, that means you're crazy saving on everything. If you're a person that's really counting every dollar, I could potentially see how you could maybe do that. And I think it's more possible maybe in a Da Nang, but in a Saigon, $1,000 a month, it's kind of like, what? You know, you could do it. If you went and lived in District 9 in that Vin, whatever the Vin Homes thing's called over there, you could make it happen for sure. You could do $1,000 a month. But I'll tell you, that thing's an hour away. And I've talked to two people that live there. One guy ended up staying here every weekend. I'm not even kidding you. It was more affordable still for him. This is what the guy ended up doing, is he would rent all week. No, he said he would rent. The one guy was renting a 6-month lease out there, and then he would come and pay for another hotel to just stay at night, like off of Boi Vang or off of wherever. Because that's like how far the suburbs are when you go and save that money. You save the money, but your location is, you have to start to do an equation of like, what's your multiplication or division or whatever it is for your time versus. So meaning your time lost in commuting and messing around, living so far away, times, is it worth your life to save that money? That's how I started thinking about rent, I don't know, 10 years ago, and I've had a better living experience since then. I will never chase a discount in a suburb again. Simply put, if I can't afford to live somewhere in a desirable area, I'll find a city that I can. You know, I'm also a person that's vastly aware if I get priced out of somewhere, it's time to move on. This is another thing people have a huge problem dealing and doing. I guess you call it gentrification, but you know, I'm sorry to say, when an area gets priced out, if you can't afford it, you need to leave instead of sitting there and bitching about it and crying for rules to be put into place. It's just not gonna happen that way. And even if you try to put the rules in place, it causes massive chaos. I've seen it firsthand in Venice Beach, LA. You would see people on, you know, rent-controlled apartments that they lived in since the 60s. They moved in when they were like kids to Venice, when they were like a surfer and stayed in the same apartment and stuff like that. And super odd way of going by. Could have said something, but I guess that works. It's the Vietnam way. You just go around. But like people in that kind of situation where they were paying, you know, my one neighbor at my last place was the greatest guy in the world. He ended up being a great guy. His rent was $220 a month. I think mine was $3,980 when I left, like with the escalated rent control. So I mean, just by him moving in there and never leaving. But it creates these huge rifts and rifts, and he really couldn't afford to be there. I'm getting on a tangent that's too far off of the budget of stuff, but you understand what I mean. If there's a time where I can't affordably live in Saigon, then I just won't live in Saigon. I'll live in a different city to where my money stretches farther. It's still, to answer the question that anyone else is asking, is it still a tremendous value to live here? Yeah, of course. It's gone up in price. I would say everything's gone up since I've been here in 2019, 25%. Everything. I would slide up the rent by 25%. I would slide up all the food by 25%, everything by 25%. A couple of hotties from a different country. One of them left though. My God. My God. 25% would be my raised rent. If you're gonna be in District 1, expect to pay $1,000 for your rent. Realistically. total. No one considers hidden costs. All these stupid Da Nang videos I see of these guys are like, I'm living for $60 a month. None of them are talking about like what any of their extra shit costs. None of them mention a management fee. None of them mention power. None of them mention how long they're running their aircon. These all things depend vastly on how much your monthly cost is going to be. Depending on the size of your apartment and how much you run in your aircon, that's going to be a huge price affector right there. You know, your electricity can be $200 on a low month. I've seen people as high as $500, $600 in 100 meter plus places per month. So depending on what your electrical use is. I'd say the median price is going to be $100, $150, $200. You let me know in the comment section what you pay for your apartment, power, and all your bills per month in Saigon. There's always going to be instances where you could super cheaply live in like a Vietnamese style apartment next to Vietnamese neighbors and just live in an old ass apartment, like, and save money. This is a definite possibility. Your quality of life, unless you're built a different way, is going to be pretty questionable in my opinion. Again, these are all choices that you can make as a person yourself to figure out. But I would say a proper budget is going to be $2,000 to $3,000 for Saigon, realistically. And unless you're on retirement and like in your last 10, 15, 20 years and you're already got your retirement money, you need to be planning money to invest in this stuff with what you make. So just saying $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 to get by isn't going to get the deal done, you know? Know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I look at it. I would say a decent apartment is going to be anywhere in the median price in a desirable area of $600 to $1,400 USD, depending on the newness, the area, and all that. We're going to talk about tomorrow. The big video is going to be before you move to Thu Thiem. Watch this. And I'm going to talk about every single apartment building inside of Thu Thiem and how each one has its own specific problem with Airbnb and nothing else. Each actual apartment inside of Thu Thiem is very nice. So it's an absolute shame to see that they're hotels, but we'll dive specifically into that and talk all about that. Is there a way to cheaply live on a budget for $1,000 or less? Probably there is. Are you going to be a unique individual that's penny pinching in all ways? Definitely watching what you're doing. In a major city, it's going to be pretty difficult, like a Saigon. I think it's much more achievable to live on these $1,000 or less budgets in a Da Nang, a Nha Trang, Vung Tau. I'm sure Vung Tau Mark spends $1,000 or less per month. He's not a cheap ass, but he's just good with money. I think he's on Army retirement. So I would say it depends on the type of drinker you are too as a guy. I don't drink anymore almost at all. So I save about an additional $200 to $300. I spend personally per month, all my money that I do spend is just on food. I don't spend anything on anything. I buy clothes once a year usually, and I'll buy in bulk. I'll buy like 4 or 5 shirts and a couple pairs of undies and maybe 10 pairs of socks and rock them for a year. Same with shoes. I'll buy a couple pair to last for a year. I'm not really a consumer. Once I have equipment that works, I don't like to buy pointless equipment and shit. So the only thing now we need is a new phone, a secondary phone, and we're gonna go with the Sony Xperia Mark 6. They're coming on the market for like 20 million now. So once they settle around 18, I'll scoop one up. And that's it. That's the last little gadget I'll buy. And now that I don't really drink, I don't lose anything or do stupid shit. So things work out for a lot better. Now, if you do drink, you can expect to spend anywhere from $200 a month all the way up to $3,000 easily, especially your first year here. I know guys that could spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 a month here their first months, no problem. I've known guys that have spent $8,000, $10,000 a month their first year here every month. So These things are very easy to get into here and fall into like a pit hole of going out to these particular style bars all the time. Where those guys always spend their money, it's the same spots. Butexico. It's always this Butexico area and Japantown. So walking between here and over to Butexico, these guys you can spend a lot of money as a guy. And then dating and stuff, I mean, if you're not a simp and a you don't have to spend really any additional money on dating. It can be as few as 50, 100 bucks, man. Eat Vietnamese food all the time. You know, you go to a movie, it's not gonna cost you a mortgage payment like it does in America. You can still see a movie here for 25, 30 bucks for both people. So it's just overall way more affordable. The budgeting days though of realistic $1,000 or even $1,200, in my opinion, is over. I would start to settle into the $2,000 to $3,000 range for all of Southeast Asia. I'm gonna officially say that for Bangkok as well. I know enough of what shit costs there and all that stuff. I know so many people are so proud of going to Thailand and living on $1 a week. It's just not realistic for most people though. You will be spending, if you do any kind of nightlife, a considerable amount of money. Don't get me started with Thailand with the cannabis and all that stuff, of the additional things you could spend there. But as far as clothes and all that stuff, everything's super affordable here. We're gonna actually break down these videos individually. So this week we're gonna go into shopping areas and I'll show you exactly what it costs to go to a H&M and buy some shirts and some clothes. Same with the Zara, then same with like a Uniqlo. So you can get to personally see how much it'll cost for you to actually shop. You've got to see what Western groceries cost in the past couple weeks. So I'll take you on a trip to do Vietnamese grocery shopping as well, so you can see what local produce and local groceries costs as well. If you have anything to add in the comment section, you let me know. I'd be very curious to know what your budget is and specifically what you spend on in the comment section. So, excuse me, if you're in Da Nang, let me know what you spend. If you're in Nha Trang, let me know. If you're here in Saigon, let me know. Of course, as you go to the suburbs, it's gonna be more affordable. So if you're in like a district, 7, you're gonna get a cheaper rent. A district 2 in Thao Dinh is gonna be a cheaper rent, except at the Lumeri. Anything newer and greater, they're all gonna be the same exact price range. As ever, if you wanna rent an apartment, sign up for the Patreon. I think that's all. If I have anything else, I'll click her back on. Thanks for watching. Stay frosty. See you on the next one. Peace out.